Hello, all. This is Dr. Dave Maslak talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3, and in this particular video, I actually want to talk about PhD research topics for people that are in strategic management. And this is really all about the sort of thesis proposal stage. This is part of my Nerd Out Wednesday series, where I talk about things that are interesting in science, and they're really geared towards people that are going into or thinking about graduate school, whether it is in a business school or not, or just people that are interested in doing sort of science and thinking about science and whatnot. So I'm actually a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship. And, I just try to be as helpful as I possibly can. That's what this whole project is all about. The Reciprocity Project is all about. And I should point out, if you hear pitter-patter in the background, I'm actually sitting outside. It is a rainy spring day. It's quite nice to be out here. So I thought I'd be out here so you can hear the birds and hear the pitter-patter. So with that, pitter-patter, let's get at her, right? All right, so if you're thinking about doing a proposal at this stage, this is a moment when you just don't have a lot of confidence in what you want to do with your research. A lot of people go through this, totally normal at this stage, right, when you're thinking about your thesis proposal, your PhD proposal, your dissertation proposal, whatever you call it. And really, it's this moment where you have to stop after doing all of the courses and after doing your comprehensive exams and just think about what you actually want to do for the rest of your life, right? It's kind of like that moment when you're in kindergarten where people are asking you, what are you going to do for the rest of your life? Well, this is one of those moments where you have to think about that. So I think that's the first thing I wanted to point out, is that you should focus on problems that really resonate with you, right, that you should be interested in. So it's not just what your supervisor or potential advisor is thinking about and working on, but you're interested in. That's an important thing to think about going forward. You also should think about a project that is going to be pretty relevant in a couple years from now, because that's when you're going on the job market. And it should be, a little bit future focused. It shouldn't be something that we've discussed before in the literature. And, it was something that we were working on 20 years ago in terms of a particular problem. Now you can, and if you look at that thing that we talked about 20 years ago in a different lens, that's interesting. But in general, you want to go into a new, push something, make sure you're going into something new and relevant that is going to be interesting in a few more years from now. When you go on the job market, that's going to be very beneficial for you. So with that, the third thing that you should be thinking about are things that are interesting in terms of a context. So look at an interesting context of some sort. You can find all sorts of interesting contexts that you resonate with, right? So if you like fishing, go out and look to see how people like to manage fishing lodges or something in northern Ontario, right? If you're interested in Wall Street, then go talk to people on Wall Street and see what they're interested in, right? If you're interested in, the stuff that Elon Musk is doing, go try to find people that are doing interesting things in that particular domain, right? Maybe you're interested in rocketry. Well, go talk to somebody in rocketry and see what they're interested in, or look up some data in that particular area, right? There's some really cool things that are going on in that particular industry, by the way, with the cube satellites, the smaller satellites. There's a real revolution that's going on, so there might be a good topic there for anybody interested. Then you want to look at an interesting method and look at interesting theory, right? So the method, there's all sorts of methodological things that are popping up at any time. You have an advantage because you just did all this coursework and you know a lot more than older people do, including myself, who's an assistant professor, but, going into associate. So, yeah, you just know a lot more than a lot of people in sort of methodologically, so don't worry about that. The theory is you might have to talk to people and try to get a better theory in what you're trying to do, an interesting theory, what you're trying to do. And that might come after you actually try to figure out your context, or might go before. You might think about well, I want to study this theory, so then I have to, so I've used this example before, you're interested in risk taking, well, go and talk or go and see why people jump out of airplanes, right? Like, I'm not sure, I haven't read a paper about that. So that might be an interesting place to start. Or you look at why people join the military, for example. There's lots of things that you could look at that people haven't done before. And so you can either go to an interesting context first, or you can look at your theory to sort of find that interesting context as well. And you can get all sorts of really fun things that way. The other thing that you should look at, and it should be the fourth thing, it should be very practical in the sense that you can get this done. It should be one idea, maybe two ideas at most, and it should be just really tiny and really small of a thing that you're working on. So a good rule of thumb that I've learned, and it's only through the School of Hard Knocks that I've learned this, the good rule of thumb is, if you think it's going to be too simple, or it just seems really dumb and everybody should think that it's obvious, it's not. And you should go in that direction. That's probably going to be perfect. That's going to take you a few years to complete that thing. If it's really dumb and simple, that's a perfect thing to look at. It's going to be a lot harder you think it's going to be. There's a lot more written about it. There is a lot more to dissect than you'd ever imagine with something that is simple and dumb. It's just one of those things, and it's the reason why you think it's too simple or too easy. It's just because you haven't studied it that in depth just yet. And once you find out, you're going to find out that there's so much to know and so much to learn. And the sort of fifth thing that you might want to think about is think about sort of being practical in terms of gathering data. Where's the easiest place that you can gather data? And what is the best way to gather data? If you can find something that's easy, that's better. If you can find something that's unique and easy, that's even better yet, right? So just looking for sources of data that are going to be relatively easy to get and relatively, they're going to be easy, and they're going to be clean data. That you can sort of gather things. And, with the internet these days, your problem should not be the data at all. It is fairly easy to find data out there in any country at this moment. You just have to know how to look for it, know what you're doing, and then you can find that kind of stuff. So that's all I'm going to talk about in this video. Hopefully you found it useful. And if you're going through strategic management, you're looking at research topics, you can definitely leave some comments and see if other people want to share ideas about those particular things. That's okay. And if not, give me a thumbs up in this video and do subscribe to the YouTube channel. I do appreciate it. I'm trying to help you out as much as I possibly can with this whole reciprocity project. And you can watch what I'm doing with it too, by the way. The E is written with a 3 in reciprocity. So that's it. Take care and have a wonderful day. All right. Bye.